Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. I'm so glad you joined me. We're going to make another blanket. It's a one-a-day blanket. I have another video on my channel with a one-a-day blanket where I've made two different blankets actually in that one video. And this is another one. You can make this baby blanket in one day. It's a smaller blanket, measures 23 by 26 inches, and it's just the perfect size. I just love it. My other blanket was so popular, I thought I would make another one. This one is 200 made out of loops and threads, soft and shiny yarn. The variegated one is called, where is it on here? Baroque Multi. Okay, it's a 4-weight yarn. It's 207 yards in the ball, or 113 grams for those of you who need the grams. And I used 2 balls of that. And then also the soft and shiny in the color Orchid. Isn't that beautiful? Also a 4-weight yarn, and it is 311 yards in a ball, or 170 grams as well. And I used 2 of those. Actually, I only used about 1.5 of those. So you don't need a lot of yarn for this project, and it whips up quite fast, and it's absolutely beautiful. So once you get your 22 needle machine and your yarn ready, we're gonna get started. All right, my friends, so if you have your yarn ready and your 22 needle machine set up, whether it's the Addi like mine or Sentro, let's get started. So we're gonna bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder, okay? Now, if you're new to my channel, you'll know that I mark that red divider between the two with a black permanent marker, so I always see when it's coming around. Helps me to know when I'm getting close to the end of a row. You need to do that. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. Okay, but let's take some waste yarn. We're going to go behind that first black, in front, and behind and in front, all the way around. With our waste yarn, and what's in front of that last white needle, we're going to open our yarn feeder, put it in there, and we're going to knit as many rows as you like for waste yarn. I usually do 7, but I'm not sure if this piece of yarn is going to take me that far. I'm going to see. It's what I'm reusing. Let's see, am I going to? I think that it will take me 1 more. Right like that. Whew, just barely. Okay, I'm going to put that in between the last white and the first black. I'm going to change my row counter to 0, so we're ready to begin. And for this particular project, we are going to make 4 different panels, okay? So we're using the 2 same colors that we're choosing, but each panel is a little bit different in how it starts and ends, okay? So the first one that we're going to start with, we're going to grab our solid color. Okay, let me reach down there and grab it. I'm going to grab my solid color here, put it into my yarn feeder here, put it between the last white and the first black, and we're going to crank 10 rows, okay? So now once I do 2 or 3 or 4 needles, I always take my both ends of my working yarn, and you'll see it always is over that one. I give it a little tug until it pops down over. Then I know that my tension at the beginning of my project is going to be nice. It's not going to be all loose, okay? Give that a little tie, and let's knit 10 rows. This is 8, 9, this is such a beautiful purple, and 10. Okay, I saw that coming around. I'm going to line up my last white, my first black. I'm going to cut off that yarn. I'm going to grab my new color, which is my variegated. I'm going to open that latch. I'm going to put my yarn between that last white and the first black. I'm going to, this is how we do a jogless join. This is when I did a video on this not long ago, and I've been doing it ever since because it works so great. And the more I've done it, the better I've gotten at it. So it'll be the same for you. So now, because they're both in that center there between the last white and the first black, you're going to take your new yarn that you just put in, bring it out in between the last 2 white ones, okay? So you essentially have these crossing over underneath that white little needle there. Then you're going to knit 3 or 4. I'm going to still pull this because I always do, just to tighten up the tension there. Then we're going to knit 20 rows of this color, but after the first 3 rows, we'll do that's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take these 2 pieces. I'm going to just rotate my camera here 1 second, friends. Just like that. We're going to take these two yarn ends and we're going to pull them away from each other, okay? What that's going to do is it's going to bring those two colors together. You can see it moving in there. I'm going to do it really slowly. You can feel when it's done. Go slow at first and you can see, you can feel it, and you can also see when it's done. It'll look like there's just this little loop right here on the inside, but you don't see that because that's the inside of the work, and that's okay. Then you're going to tie a knot. Being careful when you tie that knot that you're not tightening you're not tightening these stitches anymore. You're just basically putting your knot in there to secure it, okay? I'm going to tie that knot nice and tight, and I'm going to cut this off. And I've just created a jogless join, and I'm going to finish my 20 rows. So I'm not going to change my counter. I did 10 rows of my solid. I'm doing 20 rows of variegated. So when I get to row 30 and finish row 30, I'll see you back. Okay, so this is row 30. I'm seeing that black divider come around, so I know I'm at the end. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to cut my variegated yarn, open the latch, put that between the last white and the first black. Then I'm going to grab my solid color again, okay? We're going to do the same thing with our color change. We're going to do a jogless color change. Put that inside our yarn feeder, close it, then swing this back this way, okay? So then you have both of these underneath, crisscrossed underneath that nook of that little needle. You're going to knit 3 or 4 needles. Then I'm going to take that working yarn and pull it again, just because I want to tighten it up a little bit. Then we're going to knit 3 rows, 3 or 4, however you're comfortable, it doesn't matter, just so that you can get that yarn, tip this again, that yarn across from you so you can easily work it. We're going to grab these 2 ends, we're going to pull them away from each other. Just enough. You can see underneath this little loop that's there. You can see when they come together, and it's, you know, just lining up that row so beautifully. Then we're going to do a little knot. Just like that. Tie this a little short, cut this a little short because I don't need it. And then we're going to continue for 20 rows of this color. So we're going, we started on row 30. So we need to go to row 50 and finish row 50. And then from there, we're going to switch to the variegated. We're going to keep switching every 20 rows. And we're going to go for 20 rows until we get to our last color. Okay, so we started panel 1 with a 10 row count. So we're going to finish panel 1 with a 10 row count. And it's the same color. It's our same solid, okay? So 10 rows of our solid. Then we did 20 rows of variegated. Then we're going to go 20 rows of solid, 20 rows of variegated, 20 rows of solid, 20 rows of variegated, and 10 rows of solid. And that will take us to 120 rows, okay? So every panel that we're going to do is 120 rows. We start off each panel differently with a different row count. But after the first color that we do, every other one is 20 rows until we get to the end, okay? And then if there's 10 left, we do 10 of that last color. If there's 20 left, we do 20 of that last color. So we're going to just concentrate on this first panel right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with my solid until I get 20 rows of that. So I'll be at row 50. And when I get there, I'll see you back. All right, it goes so quick. It's just like, it's so much fun. Okay, we're going to cut this yarn because I just finished row 50. Open the latch, put it between the last white, the first black, and we are going to grab our second color again, put it into our yarn feeder, shut the latch, pop it over to the other side, hold them both, do 3 or 4 needles, then take that working yarn, give it a little tug to snug that up, okay? Do 3 rows. 3 is not a magic number, but it's just, you can do 3 or 4, or like this was 3.5. And then it gets me down to this place where I'm going to, I keep having to switch my camera here, where I have to pull it again. That is so satisfying, you guys. Oh my goodness. Then we're going to tie a knot. Cut it off, and don't forget this part or you'll have a hole. You can go in and do it after you take it off of your machine, but if you get your ends closed and then you realize you forgot to do that, then that's a sad day. Okay, so keep going. Now we're going to do this until we get 20 rows of variegated, so that'll take us to 70. When we get to 70, we are going to switch it up again. We're going to put our solid in there, and we're going to do 20 rows, which will take us to 90. Then you're going to switch it up again. You're going to put your variegated in there, and you're going to do another 20 rows, which will take you to 110. And then you're going to switch it again, and you're going to put your solid back in, and you're going to do 10 rows, only 10 rows. Okay, we started with 10, we're ending with 10. That gives us our 20. And that will take us to 120 rows, and when you get there, I will see you back. Alrighty, see how fast that goes? We're going to cut off a little bit longer of a tail this time. Just because we'll need it later for just sewing up the ends, okay? Put that in the middle there. Take your waste yarn, put it between the last white, the first black, and no need to do a jogless change with this because this is coming off, of course, okay? And then we're going to just knit. Oops, just about tucked that one. I'll do 7 rows. Okay. But I'm going to go until this yarn runs out, which is approximately 7 rows. There we go, 7 and a little bit. And you keep going, rotate twice, and it comes off. And there we have our first panel. So when we take it off, we always stretch it widthwise, all the way down. So cute. This yarn is so soft. And lengthwise, and it just softens it up even more, lines up those stitches, makes it look fabulous. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next part. All right, we're going to close up our ends. I've already done this one, but I just want to show you here. This is panel 1, and it started with 10 rows of solid. Then we did 20 rows of variegated, then 20 rows and 20 rows. We alternated all the way up, okay? Finishing our last 10 rows with the solid, okay? And that brought us to row 120. So we started with this short row, we end with a short row. So that evens out our row count, okay? Now I want you to get some stitch markers. Now where's my 4th one here? I dropped it here, 1 second. There we go. Okay, so get 4 stitch markers in different colors. And then in your book, mark that the yellow one is for the first panel. Red one is for the second panel. Orange is for 3rd. Blue is for 4th, or however you want to manage your colors. Okay, that's how I do it. And then when I have my panel off, okay, so I need to do 3 number 1s. So I put my yellow marker on all of the ones that are the same, and I put it at the top. So when I'm laying my blanket out, this is going to be the top. And the one that has my red one will be up at the top, and I'll line them up this way. That way I know that I've got them facing the right direction, and my pattern's going to line up beautifully. I can easily locate which one is number 1, which one is number 2, which one is 3, and which is 4. Okay, so this is number 1, and you're going to make 3 of these. So you can mark that color variation down in your book, and you'll have that. Now, number 2 is the red one. Okay, where is my red one? Number 2 is red. Okay, so number 2 is the red one. So this is the top of my work. That's going to go at the beginning. When I lay it down, it's going to be at the top of my blanket. Okay, and so for this particular one, you're going to need 2 panels of number 2, and you're going to start with 20 rows of your solid color, then 20 rows of variegated, and you're going to alternate that, okay? So 20, 40, 60, 80, 120, okay? So you're going to alternate, starting with solid, alternate until you get to 120, doing 20 rows of each color, okay? That's panel number 2, and you're going to do 2 of these, all right? So not so hard so far, is it? Here we have panel 3. Okay, so you're going to start with 10 of your variegated this time, okay? So 10 of your variegated, then you're going to start doing 20 rows of each color alternating until you get to the top. So 10 variegated, 20 solid, 20 variegated, 20 solid, 20 variegated, 20 solid, and then 10 variegated, or your second color will be 10. Okay, so you're going to start and finish with 10 of one color, and then in between you're going to alternate with 20 rows, okay, until you get to 120. That is panel 3. I mark it with orange. Here we have panel 4. We're going to start with 20 rows of variegated, 20 rows of solid, 20 rows of variegated, 20 solid, 20 variegated, 20 solid, until we get to row 120, okay? So starting with the variegated, ending with the solid, and you're going to put your marker up on the solid. That's going to go to the top of the blanket, okay? So that is panel 4. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, okay? So that is panel 4, starting with the variegated, ending with the solid, and you're going to make 2 of those. So those are the row counts for all of the panels that we need to do. For the panel 1, you're going to do 3 of them. For every other panel, you're going to do 2 each, okay? So we're going to have a total of 9 panels. Now, once you get those done, I closed up quite a few of mine already. We're going to go ahead and close up the ends, and I'll show you how to do that next, okay? So grab your crochet hook. I am using a 4mm crochet hook, and grab your favorite stitch markers. Mine are bobby pins. And we're going to do the next part of the project, okay? All right, so this is the beginning of the work because it's the one where the waste yarn is harder to take out, but it's not hard, it's just harder than the other end, but I shall show you. Okay, so we're going to undo this little knot. Where you see this loop coming out of, like the waste yarn coming out of, if I was to trail back on this loop and pull on this, it's going through this purple loop here, and that's my first stitch. I'm going to put my bobby pin in there. Then I'm going to look to the left of it. Right here, the loop that's right beside this working yarn, right there is the one I'm going to put my stitch marker in. I know that there's 22 stitches around, so I'm going to look for 11 and 12, and that's going to be the very far side here, and then we'll begin our work of closing, okay? So let's just bend this over a little bit. You can see these stitches. Right here's number 1 where we put our stitch marker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This one's 12, so I'm going to put my hook underneath 12. Okay, then I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to pick up number 11. Okay, bring it through the loop. So now I've worked 2. We have to count that first loop that was on our hook, okay? So that counts as 2. Go down to the bottom here, pick up that next loop, put it through the loop on your hook. That's 3. Up to the top here, pick up that next loop. That's 4. Down to the bottom, 5, up to the top, 6, and go back and forth like that till the end. Counting them all, okay? 7, 8, because you don't want to miss one. If you miss one of these, once you take your waste yarn off, if you've missed one of these loops, then your row will unravel, okay? So you want to make sure that you're counting all 22, okay? Take you to the end here. Of course, I lost count because I was counting, or I was talking, but that's okay. I've done this so many times that I know I never missed one. But when you get to the end here, you always know that this bottom bobby pin, your bottom stitch marker, will always be number 21. Okay, when you're counting, that's 21. You pull it up, put your hook under there, work it. Take that stitch marker out. Pull up on this last one, that's always 22. Yarn over, pull it through that loop, and tie off. Okay, that's how you finish that beginning part of your project, okay? Then you're going to find your end there. I'm going to just raise my camera 1 second. We're going to roll that up, okay, till we see where that little loop is over top of that last row, just like that. Pinch the stitch, pull out that row. Go down 4 or 5 or 6 stitches, roll it all the way up. See, there's that last loop, pinch the loop, pull the row. Go around, pinch the loop, pull the row. We just do this for the first row. Doesn't take very long at all. Pinch and pull. And once you get that whole row done, then you can go ahead and remove your waste yarn. I generally roll it up as I go, but this one I've used several times, so I'm going to actually toss it into the garbage. Then we've got that one. That one done. There you go. See how beautiful that is? Lovely. We're going to go to the other side. Okay. I'll help you find the stitches, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to look where your waste yarn is. See that loop that it's coming out of? Right there. That's your first one. Okay. Then you're going to go right beside it, and your working yarn here, when you pull on it, it's attached to this loop right here. See how that pulls? That's the one you want. This is your 22nd one, okay? You're going to go around, you're going to count 11 and 12, and you're going to close that just like we closed the other side, making sure that your ends are outside of your work, because I've done it before. I've sewn them in, and then you have to undo it to find your ends, okay? So you're going to count around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Put your hook under 12. That counts as 1. Pick up 11. That's 2, 3, 4, and work your way all the way back, and then I'll see you when you get there. Okay, we made it. We know that this bottom one is always 21. And if it's 21 when you're counting, and then you know you haven't missed anything, okay? And this is where bobby pins are nice, because sometimes, especially on these 22 needle machines, by the time you get to the end here, sometimes it's really tight. So you just pull up on it, and you can find that stitch very easily. Work it, yarn over, pull it through to tighten off. And then this end, of course, just pulls off like a dream, okay? Just like that. And then we've got another beautiful, a beautiful finished edge there. I've got the sun shining in there on there. I can tell you probably have a bit of a glare. Let me just move it up. Where can I move it? I don't think it's going to help anywhere. You've got a bit of a glare, but you can see what we've done here, okay? So now, all right, there we go. The sun went behind the clouds. That's how beautiful it looks. Our ends, okay? And I've got all my number ones done. Got them all laid out in the right order here. And I've got one number 2, one number 3, and one number 4. I just have 3 more to go. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to close my ends, and then I'll see you back. All right, my favorite peeps. Isn't this just like so beautiful? Only a crafter like us, when we get our panels all finished and they look all in a pile like this, even though it's not put together yet, we love it. This is so beautiful. Anyways, you can see I have my yellow number 1s. Those are the same panels. This is number 2, the red ones. There's 2 of them. Then 3 is the orange, and 4 is the blue. And this is all going to be the top of the blanket. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 1. I'm going to take these beautiful pieces out of here. I'm going to take a 1 and a 2. Okay, so we know the stitch marker goes to the top. Now, both sides are the same. So for me, I'm going to take this off. Oops. Oops. Oh, I'll snag it. Turn it around and put this back on this side, just so that there's no confusion. And I'll tell you why. It's because when I invisible stitch down here, I want there to be one tail at each end here. So this one is from the outside. The next panel that I put on, I'll make sure that the tail is on this side, so that we can close off the end with this tail, okay? So you know what I mean? You don't want 2 sides together like that where there's no tail, okay? And because they're the same on either side, it doesn't matter. You just flip it. Okay, so this is how we're going to start. This is the far left of the blanket, okay? And this is panel 1. We've got the 10 rows of the solid color, and then the 20 rows of the variegated. And then the second panel starts with the 20 rows of the variegated. Okay, so grab yourself a needle and a piece of yarn that is the length of your panel and a little bit more. Maybe a length and a half of your panel. And we are going to start our invisible seam. You can do the braided stitch if you like. It would be beautiful too. For this one, I want it to be more snug together, so that's why we're going to choose to do invisible join. Okay, so grab your needle and your yarn, and I'll see you right back. I've got my needle and my yarn, and what we're going to do, so our stitch markers are always going to be the front of our work. Okay, so we're going to put it on its side like that. We're going to look for the row where the wide part of your stitch is going down. So if I'm looking at this right now, it's the narrow part, the point that's at the bottom here. I'm going to just give it a half a row stitch turn, just like that, half a row turn, just so that I have the wide part of the V at the bottom. Easier to work with, okay? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, just like so. Now, here's where it's important. You want to make sure that you start, if you're going to start in the second stitch from the top on one, you have to start in the second stitch from the top on the other. Now, I say second because I always miss the first one. The first one's a little bit tough to get into sometimes. It's right in there. And it's right up in this tight little knot right there. And so I always just miss it and go to the second or the third, and that's what I use this little piece for, okay? So we're going to, this is the first one right up in here. This is the second one. I'm going to take the second and the third. Pull my yarn through. I'm going to just tuck this yarn tail out of, pinch it down in there so it doesn't keep wrapping around my work, okay? So this is number 1 here. This is 2. And 3, just like that. So I'm going to take 2 bars on that side. Pull this through. Get that yarn end out of the way. Okay. I'm going to just smooth this out down the row a little bit. So I have 10 or so stitches that are all lined up nice. We're going to stay on that same row. Okay. And some people have a hard time with this, but if you just do little pieces at a time, it shouldn't be hard, my friends. Find your right rows, then smooth it out, and then pinch it down and smooth it out down so that you can see where they are, and they're not moving anywhere. So this is where we came out on this side. We're going to go in and we're going to pick up 2 bars. This is where we came out. We're going to go in. We're going to pick up 2 bars. Okay. We're going to do this all the way down. We're going to go in where we came out, pick up 2. Okay. Up to the next panel. Okay, smoothing it out. Make sure you're on that same row. See, just like that. And you keep going. Now, the nice part about this particular pattern is that you don't have to, your seams, you don't have to worry about your seam here matching a color seam there because it's always off center. It's always halfway down to the next row, okay? It's a zigzag stitch, so that's a bonus too, except for it keeps getting wrapped around the corner there. So let's just keep going and keep going and keep going. And then when you get part way down, you can take the end here and pinch it with your fingers and pull this. Or you can just take both ends of the yarn and pull it like that, and look how beautiful that closes up. Oh, just love it. Love, 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 love. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure I got that same row and the same row. That first one might be a little bit harder to see because you've pulled it tight, but you'll get it. You can see it. Okay. And we're going to go in there, and because we did 120 rows on each panel, this is going to end up even all the way to the bottom, okay? There will be no shortening panels. If you hold one up beside each other right now, one might look a little longer than the other, and that's simply because of the tension you put on it when you stretched it widthwise and lengthwise when you took it off your machine. But once you start sewing it up, it's going to pull that all together, and it's going to line up absolutely beautifully. Okay? So in where I came out, pick up 2 stitches. In where I came out, pick up 2 stitches. Okay, you're going to do this all the way down your panel. Okay, I'm going to just do it a couple more with you so I can show you where I pinch it again. Okay, to close it. Just like that. Okay, and then you pinch where you ended off there and you pull this. And it's snagged, of course. I'm gonna pull from here, that side, okay? Or you can pull both ends like this one was snagged on something, so I pulled it from this end and it worked the same, okay? Must have snagged it with my needle, but it's not a big deal. Okay, now I'm gonna make sure that my rows are lined up. See, this one liked to curl in a little bit, so I'm going to just smooth it out with my hands, and then you can smooth out your panel like this, and that helps to keep it in place. Line them up. And continue on your merry way. It's actually a very fun stitch to do because you get a lot done in a little bit of time, and it's just very satisfying because it looks so great. Okay, so you're going to keep going all the way down your panel, just like so. Okay, I'm going to pull it one more time, just like that. And see, our squares, our rectangles are going to all be in a zigzag pattern like this, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So this is one, this is two. We're going to make it down to the bottom, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, keep going, my friends. All right, so I have it sideways here so you can see. But we've got it started up at the top here, worked our way out all the way to the bottom. Okay, and then all I did was, oop, did I lose my needle? Doggone it, yes I did. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I love these needles, but I have a love-hate relationship with them because they keep falling off the yarn falls off the end so easily. Okay, so then all I do is I go, which I've done it already, but I'll do it again for your sake. I take that one and I go in that top stitch there, and I go in that top stitch here, and then I tie it off with that piece that's left there. Into a knot, and then I hide both ends, and I do that with the other end as well, okay? So I can cut this off a little bit. I'll take my smaller needle and I'll go ahead and hide that. I don't have to go back and forth 3 and 4 times because I'm going to actually do a crochet border around this. So that's all I need to do, and it'll catch it. If you're not doing a crochet border, then go back and forth 2 or 3 times, and then you know it's secure, okay? So then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to take my one end, and I'm going to just catch it up like that. See how that just nicely closed it, okay? And then I always just go through that top row there, that top stitch, and then this first one, pull it together, lost it again, pull it together, knot this off, and hide it. Okay, I can go ahead and hide this one because I'm not putting anything on that side, okay? I'm going to go ahead and hide it, and then knowing that this is the front of my work, which with the invisible stitch is the same on both sides, but you want to make sure that you know what your front is so that when you put your next panel on, you're not putting it over on this side, then it's backward, it's on the wrong end. So now we know that our next color, number 3, is yellow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that yellow panel. No, it's not yellow. What am I thinking? I could see that right away. It's orange. We're going to, yeah, there, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to put our orange beside that next panel there. We're always going to make sure that we're sewing on this side, okay, the side that's up. So then we put our wrong sides together like that. Okay, give it a turn. Thread your needle with a long piece of yarn, and you're going to go ahead and do the same thing all the way down your panel, okay? So you're going to get your wide part of your V going down on both sides. Just like that. You're going to sew it up all the way down, and then when you get that one on, you're going to take panel number 4, and you're going to put that one on, making sure your stitch marker is at the top, okay? And that your right side is up, Then this will be folded over like that. You put the wrong sides together, and you're going to sew it down the same way that you sewed the other panels. You're going to repeat this process 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 on the end. Okay, so go ahead and do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And when you get that all done, I will see you back. Okay, we've got it done. All our little markers were lined up at the top, just like that. So now we can take them out. This blanket measures 23 by 26. So it's just a small blanket, but it's, I think, just such, I love this size. Like on my channel, you'll see lots of, or a few different baby blankets. Only one other pattern that's on there is a blanket that's this size, and that's a blanket a day, where I made 2 blankets. But the size was so popular for everybody that I thought, I'm going to do another one. So that's where this one came up with. And I'll probably do more this size because this is perfect to throw in the stroller, throw over your child when they're sitting in their car seat, or, you know, with they're snuggling on your lap and you just want a nice little blanket to put over them that's not too heavy, not too big and bulky. It's an excellent crib blanket too. Like, it's just a perfect size. Like, I just love this size. Okay. And you'll see the zigzags. Well, it's not a zigzag. It's more like a diagonal ladder kind of thing. Diagonal steps. I don't know which one. I haven't decided what I'm going to call it yet. I designed this pattern, so I have to think about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to call it. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a border on it. You can leave it just like this if you like, because the border is beautiful. It's nice on the side here too. You can leave it exactly like this if that's what you prefer, or you can join me in crocheting a border. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 5mm hook, my favorite hook. I'm going to grab this solid color, purple, and we're going to begin. All right, so at this point, there is no right or wrong side to this blanket. So you can choose whichever side you want to start on. And then whatever side you put your crochet on, that's the side that's going to be your right side. I'm just keeping it the same as what I had the stitch markers on. And we're going to start up in the top right corner. Lots of people choose to start their crochet in a corner. I always start it over, actually, so that I'm ending... I don't want to end on the corner, so that's where we're going to start. Okay, and I'm going to untangle my mess here. I'm going to put a slip knot over my hook. Just like that. And we're going to do a row of single crochet all around this blanket. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in every row, so where you see the wide part of the V there, I'm going to go into there, into there, into there, into there, all the way across the top. Okay, so we're going to start maybe in the corner here. Let's start where we can easily get in there, right there. Okay, I had my slip knot on my hook. I'm going to put my hook into that first stitch that I want to go into. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through that work, and pull it through the loop that was on my hook. That's how I'm joining. Okay, then I'm going to chain 1. From there, I'm going to single crochet in that same space, just like this. Okay, I'm going to take a stitch marker. Where are you, my stitch markers? And I'm going to put it right in that first stitch, so I know where I'm going to join when I get all the way around. Okay, so again, I'm going to go into that next row, single crochet into that next row where the wide part of the stitch is up. That's how I gauge where I'm going. See right here, into there. You can see there is where the stitch is. I'm going to go into there, all the way across. Okay, I'm using a regular tension, nothing tight and nothing too loose. I just want a nice even row that's beautifully spaced like that. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that. Right in here where our knots are, where we join and stuff, might be a little hard, so you can just push it in through there, make it work. Okay, And then let's see, where's my next one? Right there. This one's a bit of a stretch, so I'll make that loose. Okay, and into there. Single crochet all the way across until I get to the corner, and then I'll meet you there, okay? Simple, simple, simple. This is just the first row. This is our foundation row. We're getting ready to do our pattern, okay? All right, so we got a nice smooth edging. Our stitches are uniform and even and not too tight. It's not puckering our work at all. It's just following along just nicely along the top there. We're at the corner here. And what we're going to do in the corner is we're going to put 3 single crochets. So you're going to just get your hook to get in there. This is a bit harder one, the first one there. Okay, so that's 1 single crochet. Oops. Right into that same space, 2, and 1 more, 3. Okay, that's going to help us turn our corner just like that. Beautiful. Okay, now along the sides, what we're going to do is you can see the stitching there. You can see each row that's there, each stitch. You can see, let me take my hook out of here. So there's that and there and there and there. All these little stitches here that you can see, you're going to go into every second one, except for you're going to go to the first one right after the corner. Okay? And then you're going to find that row that we're working in. So we're going to smooth that out. We don't want to have it twisted here. We're going to smooth that out, and we're going to go into every second stitch. So there's a single, oops, that's a little loose. There's the first one, here's the second one. Single crochet. There's one, go into the next one. Okay, miss one, go into one. Miss one, go into one, and single crochet. You're going to do that all the way down the side, and you're going to do that all the way down the other side. And on the bottom half, you're going to do the same as we did the first part here, okay? And you're going to put 3 crochet into every corner, and getting as close to the corner as you can before you do you don't need to skip a stitch on either end of your corner. You can just get as close as you can to that stitch, then you do 3, then you go right beside it, and then you start missing every other one down the side. Then when you get to this corner here, you put 3 single crochets in that corner, and then along the bottom, you're going to do exactly what we did along the top there. You're going to go into the wide part, every row where the wide part of the V is up, okay? And you're going to go all the way around your work until you get to the beginning, and when you get there, I'll meet you and we will begin the next row, okay? Okay, friends, we are at the end, and we're going to, where our bobby pin is, that is our first single crochet. We're going to put our hook into that single crochet. We're going to slip stitch to join, okay? And we're going to chain 1. And this is a very easy stitch pattern, but it's so pretty. Chain 1, then into that same space, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, all in that same space, okay? Just like that. We'll do a couple here. Let's put our stitch marker right in our first single crochet, okay? Then we're going to skip 1, and we're going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that same space. Like, look how pretty that is. Skip 1, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that same space. Okay, we're going to do that all around our project. Very simple. So if you're new at crocheting, this is your first try at it, you got this. You can easily do this. If it's your first time, it might take you a little extra time to do it, but you know what? That's okay. It's a great pattern to learn on, actually. So we're going to go around, and I'll meet you when I get to the corner, okay? Alrighty, so we are approaching our corner. This is the 3 corner stitch here, 1, 2, and 3 that we put in that little center there. Okay, but I've just finished working this one, and I have one there. If I miss that one, then this next one is the first of the 3, and I want to go into there. So there's 2 that I'm going to be missing here, and I think that's going to be too big of a jump. So I'm going to just pretend that I missed one, and I'm not going to miss one. I'm going to go into this very next one, and I'm going to do a shell. It's not really a shell, but it kind of is. And I'm going to do that and put that in there. It's like a mini shell, okay? And then I'm going to miss that first one from the corner, go into that second one, and repeat that pattern, okay? Single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. So when I do corners, I like to, when I'm done the very corner one, I'd like to go into the very next one. I showed you that when I did my single crochet row, but for this stitch pattern here for the shells, I'm gonna miss it, and I'm gonna go into this next one because there's enough stitches in that one stitch that oops, I forgot to chain 2, that it compensates. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna skip one. I'm going to just do a couple here, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Oops. 1, 2, back into that stitch. I'll do one more. Single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Pull that up so I don't lose it. Okay, so that's what my corner is looking like. So it's beautiful. It's perfect. Okay, so you just play with it until, you know, it looks the way you want it to look. If you want to put a one in each of the 3 here, you can try that, but I think that it'll just bunch up a little bit too much. So that's how I like to do it. So I'm going to keep going down this side here. Then I'm going to do the other corners and continue that pattern until I get back up to this part here. And when I get there, I will come back and see you. So here we are at the end. I'm going to just take that out of there. I'm going to do one more. There's a big space there, and I could go into this one here, but then it'd be a little, I'm going to just go into this next one here. I think it just looks like the best place, the best decision. So there we go. Now I have just a smaller space there. I'm going to go into this first single crochet, slip stitch to join, yarn over, pull that through, give it a little snip, snip, snip. There we go. I will put that on my needle and I will hide it. And there we go. Let me see if I can get this folded in a better shot in here. There we go. This is what our border looks like. That's the underside. But there you go. Absolutely beautiful. So there you have it, my friends. A beautiful, beautiful, very soft, very shiny and beautiful blanket. Perfect size for a baby blanket, but also great if you just want to throw it over your legs if you're cold. Gift it to a senior in a nursing home for a lap blanket. For them in their wheelchair, they'll just love it and appreciate it so much. So there you go, my friends. I hope you love this diagonal blanket and that you make one for yourself. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Take care, my friends. We'll see you soon.